Well, everybody, the date we've been waiting for has arrived. It is now November 2025, and the question on everyone's lips is what's going on with the seabed search for the wreckage of MH370? Is it going forward or not? Today, I'm going to bring you up to speed. Hi, everybody. Jeff Wise back with you with another episode of Finding MH370, the podcast where we collect and analyze evidence to solve the mystery of the missing airliner. If you've been following the case, you'll remember that last December, almost a full year ago, the government of Malaysia announced that it had reached a deal with the American undersea salvage company Ocean Infinity, that they would restart the seabed search that they had begun. Well, the first one was back in 2018, and when it had surveyed an absolutely gigantic amount of seabed without finding anything. So after the Malaysian government made that announcement back in December of 2024, we were on tenterhooks. We all were waiting to find out when things would get underway. And in the event, it took a little while. It was February of this past year that a vessel called Armada 7806 sailed from Mauritius to the 7th Arc. It arrived a week later on February 23rd. It spent less than a week searching, then sailed off to Perth in Australia, returned to the search area March 11th. It scanned for another 2 weeks, and then it left for good on March 28th. This was all a bit of what the Filipinos call bitin, namely not very satisfying once you've got your appetite worked up. All in all, only about 5,000 square kilometers had been searched, which is only about a third of the 15,000 square kilometers that Malaysia had promised when it made that December announcement. So at the time, Ocean Infinity didn't give any official indication of when or even if it would be back. But through back channels, the word got out that the company was at least partly motivated by the fact that the southern winter was approaching and that it aimed to get things restarted around this November timeframe when the summer weather would be returning to the southern hemisphere. Okay, and so here we are. It's November. November has started. The search does not seem to be underway, but keen eyes are watching the Ocean Infinity fleet in anticipation of what will happen next. Let me say up front that my most trusted source, as always when it comes to this new search, is Kevin Rupp, who has reliable sources within Ocean Infinity. He's been posting on Blue Sky and Twitter, as well as Facebook. I'll put the links in the show notes. He has been really a rock solid source of information throughout this whole renewed search by Ocean Infinity. Okay, so as this month, November, was approaching, I reached out to Kevin to ask him what he thought the outlook was for the renewed search. And this is what he wrote back to me, and I quote, "We don't know much. The search is on hold due to winter weather in the southern Indian Ocean. Ocean Infinity has stated that they will return when the weather clears, and we have some confirmation of that through back channels. We are watching the available vessels very closely, but we are still not sure what vessel they will use. Probably one of the Armada 86 meter vessels, O2, O4, or maybe O5. Ocean Infinity has a wreck vessel search starting November 5th, and we suspect that the vessel used for that will be the one to return to the search for MH370. That's all we have for now, but I will let you know when we get something solid." Okay, that's end quote. That was Kevin's report. Very interesting stuff. Let's unpack what Kevin is laying down here. First, he's saying that bad weather in the area around the 7th Arc is holding back the search, the restart of the search. So let's take a look at some screenshots of the weather forecast for the week ahead from windy.com. On Sunday, November 2nd, things were looking pretty stormy. You can see a low pressure system to the west. The strong winds are swirling around. We've got winds at 25 miles per hour, gusting to 32. That's 22 knots, gusting 27 knots. That is pretty brisk. That is like small craft warnings. We've got seas that are 17 to 19 feet high, or about 6-meter high waves. But as the week goes on, the forecast is for things to calm down. By Wednesday, the winds are supposed to be 9 miles per hour, gusting to 15. That's 8 knots, gusting to 13 knots. That's pretty mild by my book. And they're going to get even milder after that. The waves are 9 feet on Wednesday, or about 3 meters, and they're going to get smaller and smaller. So overall, while the weather might have been holding the search off at first, it looks like conditions are forecast to be pretty darn good in the near future. And remember, the southern summer is coming, so things should get more and more optimistic on that front. Okay, so assuming that they like how the weather is looking, what are the ships that we should keep an eye on? So Kevin mentioned Armada 8602, 04, and maybe he said 05. So these are members of Ocean Infinity's newest class of custom-made ships. As their name implies, they are 86 meters long, or about 280 feet. Now, these are extremely new ships. The first one was delivered only this past December, so less than a year ago. These ships are truly state-of-the-art, very latest cutting-edge technology. This is a bigger sort of ship than the one that was used for the first two phases of the current search, that are Armada 7-8, which was, it's 8 meters shorter, so it's about 255 feet long. It could only deploy 3 AUVs at a time. These are the assets that are doing the actual seabed scanning. They're basically underwater robots. They look like torpedoes, and they go and autonomously scan the seabed. They could only deploy 3, which was significantly less than the 8 that were used in the 2018 search, in which covered so much ground so quickly. Kevin wrote me back in March to say that the 7806 was bouncing around a lot. AUV recovery can be dicey when ships and AUVs are pitching. So a smaller ship, more susceptible to the weather, smaller, and so not able to deploy as many AUVs, it really seems to have slowed things down. The Armada 86 is a bigger vessel, presumably a bit more stable. It can operate for 21 to 35 days at a stretch and deploy these Hugin 3,000 and 6,000 AUVs. At this point, we don't exactly know how many, but is presumably more than the smaller boat. The Ocean Infinity website describes it like this. It says, quote, the Armada 86, or A86, is a 86-meter steel-hull DP2 multi-role vessel designed to deliver geophysical survey, geotechnical sampling and inspection, maintenance, and repair services. It has a removable aft bulwark, enabling over-the-stern deployment of the Ocean Infinity AUV fleet. The A86 is a lean, crewed vessel with facilities to host up to 16 marine and payload personnel, end quote. Okay, so if Kevin's right, and this is the kind of ship that Ocean Infinity will deploy, it should be able to cover ground more quickly and maybe get the rest of those 10,000 square kilometers done in just a single deployment. Okay, so what about those individual ships that Kevin is keeping his eye on? Let's go through them. 8602 is currently in the Pacific. Marine tracking shows it's currently southeast of Japan, heading for Vancouver, kind of in the wrong direction. 8604 is in the shipyard that it was launched from at Vung Tau in Vietnam. It seems like it's going to start sea trials soon, so this is a really brand new boat. Meanwhile, 8605 left Vung Tau on October 28th and is heading for Singapore. So at the moment, it seems that 8605 is the one whose trajectory most seems to be taking it in the right direction. Right now, we don't know for sure what's going to happen. I think it's worth noting that on November 5th, one of Ocean Infinity's Armada 86 vessels is going to be deployed, quote, to the San Bernardino Strait in northern Samar to locate shipwrecks linked to the Manila galleon trade and naval vessels that sank during World War II. This is from the press release from the Philippine government's press office. This is the expedition that Kevin alluded to earlier, that he thinks whatever vessel carries us out is going to go on to look for MH370. But let me continue from the press release. Quote, the exploration activity to be conducted in collaboration with Allen Exploration, AEX, an American ocean research company, is set from November 5th to 18th. Well, the straight line distance from the San Bernardino Strait to the general area of the seabed search is a little over 3,000 nautical miles. It is not a short distance. In fact, as the Armada 86's stated economic speed, that's from the press release of Ocean Infinity, economic speed of 8 to 10 knots that would be at least 300 hours or 12 and a half days. So if the ship that carries out the Philippine expedition is the one to restart the seabed search for MH370, there won't be any exploration until early December at the earliest. And that doesn't even include time to get back to port and refuel and refurbish and get on fresh crew and everything. So for now, I'm going to be paying close attention to Kevin Rupp's reporting, and I'm going to be following the movement of Armada 86 fleet on marine traffic. As soon as there's any indication of movement towards a search, I will be sure to drop a new episode and let you know what's happening. But it doesn't seem like it's imminent, unfortunately. I think a lot of us would like to see this get underway and get done and dusted ASAP. We're going to have to cool our jets a little bit. Okay, that's all I have for you right now. As ever, if you have any insights or tips, questions or comments, anything you want to say to me or to others, you can leave them here on the YouTube channel or at the show page at findingmh370.com, where you can also sign up for a free newsletter that goes out with every episode, keep you up to date. And if you'd like to help the show out with a paid subscription, you can do that as well. I would be extremely grateful. Really helps out a lot. For now, this is Jeff Wise. I'll see you next time.